Page 81, Dotted-Quarter Arpeggios. This is similar to the piece on page 80, except it's a 3/4 time instead of 4/4 time, and we're playing broken chords instead of block chords. And the pattern for the broken chord we're playing is the arpeggio, which means you either start with a bottom note and go up, or you start with a top note and go down, either direction. In this piece, we're going up. So it's a 3/4 time, I just said that. This has got one flat in the key signature, so this is in the key of F major. So we're going to use the chords for F major. All the B's are flatted. I'm going to take it both hands at the same time because it's one hand or the other is playing. See, in the first measure it has LH under it, the staff. In the second measure it has RH above the staff, or left hand, right hand, telling you which hand to play. Another way a lot of music will do, and this is doing it too, is you can look at the stems on the notes. If the stems are going down, then the left hand would play it. If the stems are going up, the right hand would play it. You can't always rely on that, but a lot of times you can look at that. You see in the first measure, those notes are way down low in the staff. So normally the stems would be going up. When the notes are that low in a staff, the stems would go up. But they deliberately made them go down because they want the left hand to play them. So, and the rhythm, 1 and 2 and dotted, same as we did before. 1 and 2 and 3. They give you the count there in the first measure. It's just that the quarter note comes on 1, the dot comes on 2, because the quarter note gets count, and the dot gets half the value of that, so it's a half a count. So then the 8th note has to come on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3. So it's a dotted rhythm, long, short. Then in the next one, the right hand gets it, measure, same chord and same rhythm, 1 and 2. Next measure, the left hand gets it up here, and 2, and then the right hand gets the top one. This says right hand 2 over. I don't know what you're over anything. I think they think you're coming over, but the right hand was here. The right hand is actually come under. You don't go over. That's silly. The point is, play it with the right hand. Second finger. I don't really care which finger you use. Some finger. Just use a finger. It's there. So the line, because the beat needs to be steady. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and that's it. It's an arpeggio, one note at a time. It doesn't matter what the rhythm is. It's just you start with the bottom note and you go up. That's an arpeggio. In the second line, now it's the 4 chord, or B flat. In the key of F, it's a 4 chord, and we simply put this is the chord, and we put the F on the bottom. And it's the same thing, 1 and 2, same fingering and everything. In the line 3, we go back to the 1 chord for 2 measures. And then here, what's this? What's this? Well, it's a 5/7 chord in the key of F. It's a G7, but it's a 5/7 chord, and remember there's 4 notes in a 5/7 chord. But we don't have to use them all, so what they're doing is they're using the G on the first one and the E on the second one. Between the 2 measures, we're using all 4 notes. And then back to the 1 chord at the bottom, like it was in the first line. At the top, they have a couple measures there with imitation. Remember, imitation is where you've presented some motif, musical idea, and then you imitate it, or you do it again elsewhere, or something, or whatever. Could be in the same place, actually. You're just doing it again. It's like it's repeated, but it isn't repeated, it's imitated. Huh? I don't know. So here's the motif. See, they say motive, M-O-T-I-V-E, and I'm used to motif, which is M-O-T-I-F. But whatever. It's a musical idea, is what it is. Short music, it's not a phrase. Usually not, because a motif is just a short thing. Just a few notes. And then again, same motif, imitated. with a note. That's not an imitation. It's a different motif, huh? That's the idea of this piece. Articulation wise, it's just slurs, and I don't know why they're slurring it. I mean, it's kind of nice to have it, I guess. But you don't always lift up before and after slur. It depends on the situation. It's interpreting the music. You could play the whole first line. It's a phrase. Each line happens to be a phrase. You can play it all connected. And then lift up, a little silence going on. Then the third line, I would lift up in the middle of the line. So it's two major phrases here. That's how I would do it if I were going to play it. So I mean, you can experiment with it. Then Andante is kind of a leisurely pace, not slow, not fast. It's on the leisure side of the middle range. That made no sense at all, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Depends on what time of the day it is for me and how much wine or coffee I've had. Just make sure when you're crossing these hands, moving them around, you have it where it needs to go before. But it's not RH2 over, it's just RH2. You're not going over anything. Dynamic wise, well, they're starting out moderately soft, and this is the whole thing. It's all melody, it's all harmony, it's all together. So it's got to sound like one hand played it all. Whatever you think moderately soft is, it's on the soft side of the middle. And then at the end of the second line, you go up just a little bit to moderately loud. So the second line, you start the third measure moderately soft and gradual. That's where you're moderately loud. And then in the third line, you're staying moderately loud, and then moderately soft. It's like an echo, sort of. And then the last line, you're soft. And there's an RAT in the next to the last measure. Slow down and get softer all the way down. That last note is very soft. Then on top of that, they've added pedal. Don't know why, because I think it really sounds better without pedal, because you can hear the phrasing, you can hear things more clearly. And when you're learning it, by all means, do it without the pedal. You want to hear all of these notes carefully. Are you holding them down? Are See, no, you want to hold that out. You can lift up, you can cut a hair short, but not much. If you do that, now if you slur it all together, that's different. But the pedal, they're gonna, well, again, there's different ways of pedaling this, so let's talk about the pedal. They're showing you hold the pedal down for the whole first line. Well, the harmony's not changing, so yeah, you can do that. Push the note down first and then the pedal. And then the next line, they're showing overlapping. So I would push the note down first and then change the pedal. Hold it down for the whole line. And then on the third line, again, I push the note down first and then change the pedal. Change it. Change it. At the end, the pedal and the hands come up together. That's one way of pedaling it. That's what's marked. Another way of pedaling it is like, let me hear the phrasing between the lines. Each line is a phrase, it's a musical sentence. I'm going to lift the pedal up with the note in the right hand, so there's a little silence before I go to the next line. And the third line, I'm going to lift it up between the second and third measure. That's another way. It's a different ways of interpreting the music. I could also change it like I did on the previous video. I could change it with each measure. Overlap it though. See, it sounds different. It changes the sound entirely. So the pedal can have a big effect on the overall sounds you're going to get. So experiment and decide what sound are you after. And maybe you'll play it different at different times. That's wonderful. Yeah. So I'm not going to do a play with me. I don't think we need it. But that's my impression of the pedaling for this.